Hello and welcome to the beautiful island of Tenerife. I'm in the south of Tenerife at the moment, right at the very end of the beach at Los Cristianos, and I'm going to be walking all the way along through Los Cristianos, Playa Las Americas, into Costa Dequi and further, but that's maybe for another video. Get as much as I can done today. I hope you enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, please leave the video a like and please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you very much. So here we are at the start of the walk. This is the mountains, if you like, right at the end of Los Cristianos. So wherever you start the walk, if you want to get to this point, just go to the sea and walk as far left as you can until you come to some mountains and the end of the walk, really. But here we go to start with, some lovely villas on the right hand side, which were built, I'm not sure now, 15 years or so ago, maybe longer. And to the left, a very natural beach, lots of bits of sand and shale and rocks and things. In the distance we've got La Gomera, the island, and also of course Los Cristianos. So as you walk along, there's some choices. We're going to carry on keeping the sea to the left and carry on walking towards the main area of Los Cristianos. So it's a bit rough, the ground at this point, but it gets better and turns into a smoother path as we go. Little rock out into the sea there you can walk out on and have a little look. It's nice. So coming up on the right hand side, that tall building is the Paloma Beach apartments, which you can rent. And also on the left hand side there you'll see that lovely villa, and there's also a little harbour at the front of it, which was the original harbour for Los Cristianos. And this house was apparently built by a famous architect. Not that I know the person's name, but it's just what I've been told. And it's now occupied by the daughter of the original owner. Great place. Usually has dogs running around protecting it. Can't blame them for that. Nice piece of land. You'll see along this coastline there's lots of these little houses, which I was told many years ago that they were gifted to people in the military, in the Navy, I was told. Of course they've managed to keep them, and must be worth a small fortune now. A lot of them have been knocked down, to be honest, or destroyed by the sea. Okay, here we go on to the flatter section, which is where some people may start if they don't fancy going across the rough ground. We're just in front of the Arona Gran Hotel here, which is a very nice 5-star hotel. There are little small beaches dotted along, but they're not massive, but they are pleasant. Quite a lot of this seawall has been damaged over the years and replaced. I think it is due to be completely replaced at some point, but not sure when. Okay, coming up on the right hand side here is the market, or the area where the market is on a Sunday morning. So that's something It's worth doing if you like that kind of thing. There's another one of those houses that I was talking about. And this is a building that was built, I'm saying 15 years ago maybe. Bit of a white elephant, never really been occupied fully, apart from a few squatters that have made it their home at some point, but they've been blocked out now. There are some buildings, or rather some parts of the building which have been occupied, as you can see here, with cafes and restaurants, which is very nice. Nice place to sit in the sun.
Okay, let's go with Coldplay. Great artist, we love Coldplay. It's a good song from them. It's Evergreen.
So on the left-hand side here is the Crazy Golf. It used to be a tennis court, as you can see. And coming up on the right-hand side, this is the H10 hotel called the Big Sur. Very nice location, right on the beach. Also, as we move through this area, you'll see on the seaward side there's quite a few ball courts, I suppose you call them. Very popular in this area. The Spanish like it, but also a lot of the expats from various parts of Europe come down here, socialise and play some games of ball. This was quite a rough area at one point. I mean, rough in terms of it wasn't very well laid out, but they've improved it, and it used to be just on rough ground. Now it's actually quite well organised. So this building on the left-hand side is all apartments. It's quite unique from the front. It's quite curved. Interesting. Again, these are all rumours whether it's true or not, but that building has never had any planning permission, so it's actually illegal. We looked at buying a property in there once and was warned off it because it could be bulldozed at any point. Again, whether that's true or not, no idea. So we're getting ever closer to the main centre of Los Cristianos. As you can imagine, Los Cristianos has changed a lot in the last 50 years. This seafront promenade was built, I'm guessing, in the 1980s. You'll see a property on the right-hand side here, which is actually the Swedish church. And you'll see the windows of the Swedish church are more or less at ground level, whereas I've seen photos of those windows up at sort of head height, so it shows you how much this promenade was raised above the original levels. There's the Swedish church on the right. See those windows down at the floor. Never been in there, but there was a restaurant which was meant to be very good. That's the restaurant there. There's a couple of properties to the left-hand side here which are interesting. Again, been here for many, many years. Just been past one. There's another one coming up with the light brown and orangey coloured walls. Sort of sits out on its own. Would be worth an absolute fortune, but you wouldn't blame people for not selling it. It's Not a massive house, but fantastic location right on the beach. This is the entrance to the beginning of Los Cristianos beach. To the right there's a play area for children. And there's a little road and footpath that goes up to Dreamers, which is a good fun place to go of an evening. Whilst we're here, we'll just have a little wander down towards the beach, to the starting point of Los Cristianos beach. One of the many beaches in this area which aren't exactly what they look, because they were manufactured really, again, during the early 80s maybe, late 70s, and as far as I'm aware all this sand was brought in from the Sahara Desert. I mean, there was a sort of beach here before all that, but nothing like this. Great for rock pooling here at low tide. You often see families here hunting for crabs and so on. And we'll just walk back up onto the seafront and walk along. This villa on the left hand side is very interesting. Built in the 1960s, I've been told. It was actually built by a guy who lived local, but it was built for a family who lived in Santa Cruz, a wealthy family, and they used that villa for a holiday home basically on weekends. You still do get quite a few people down here from Santa Cruz at the weekend, Saturday, especially Sunday. So we're into the thick of Los Cristianos now, the seafront here. Beautiful for a walk, lots of places to sit, some grass to sit on if you want, plenty of shady bits and sunny bits. These restaurants along the front here are very good value. Most resorts will pay an absolute premium for that location, but here food's pretty cheap and you usually get a beer for about €1, which is pretty amazing. Also there's a supermarket on the seafront, so you can buy things and take them onto the beach without paying a fortune. And there's the beach itself, and looking back at that villa that we spoke about. That's a road going off to the right, which would take you up onto or near to the main high street in Los Cristianos. Maybe do a separate video about that part of town at some point. Looking at these buildings on the left here, which was donated to people by the military. A great place for slices of pizzas here, I always enjoy that. Lots of cafes and restaurants all the way dotted along on this section. There's also Burger King along here as well, which seems out of place, but it has been here for decades, so fair enough.
Sorry.
This was filmed in March 2026, that building there, it's got all the shutters at the front of it, was actually damaged in a fire. So this is the start of a street that goes up to the church of Los Cristianos. Again, loads of restaurants and shops. Worth a visit. As you can see, it's very busy. The majority of the year, this area is buzzing, especially on a nice sunny day like this, which there are many. Lots of places to sit, lots of places in the shade, lots of places in the sun, so it's a nice mixture. And pretty flat. So if you've got any walking issues or you need to use a wheelchair or a mobility scooter, then the whole of southern Tenerife is fantastic really, because it's relatively flat and very well laid out. This is a small square where they have some traditional music on certain days of the week, at certain times of year. I'm not quite sure when that is, but I think it used to be a Thursday, but you might have to do a bit of research on that. Playa bar and restaurant, which has been here for decades. As you walk along, you come into this big open area. This building on the left was some kind of fisherman's club, I believe. If you have any idea what it used to be, please leave a comment below. That's over into the port. And it's quite surprising, so many people get to this point and think they've come to the end, but if you carry on through here, you come to what most people will call the tunnel, which goes under the road and out onto the next section. So as we come out now onto Vista Beach, there's the tunnel behind us, a few shops and things near the entrance, and then we open out onto a huge beach, and it's a beautiful beach as well. Totally artificial, of course, all imported from the Sahara, allegedly. A lovely place for a stroll. Always hundreds of people seem to be walking down here, and there's many restaurants and bars, and unlike a lot of seafronts in different parts of the world, it's very good value here. You can always get pretty cheap food and drinks, and there's some very nice places as well. And as you can see, high up on the right hand side, there's some restaurants up there which are accessed from the road parallel to the beach, which have got fantastic views and fantastic sunsets as well. So we come up to a nice busy area now with lots of bars and restaurants. There's also a McDonald's. A great place this is to sit around sunset and watch the views. You'll see that I've had to mute the background noises because there was a busker here making a real row, so just put some background music on for a moment. If we take a right fork here, we make our way up to the Golden Mile and all the restaurants and entertainment up there. And ahead of us you can see the Vista Sur shopping centre. There's some nice little shops in there. Great ice cream parlour in there. Then also we can take a left-hand turn and make our way along the last part of Vista Beach. This is what I would call the end of Los Cristianos now and the start of Playa de las Americas. So we're leaving Las Vista Beach behind. Coming up on the left hand side here is a great little bar, and lovely to sit and have a cup of coffee or a beer. You can take either of these little footpaths here. They both end up in the same place really. There's a view back over Vista Beach. So when you come to this little roundabout, you just basically go straight on. There's an interesting building on the left-hand side, quite a large building, which I'll show you from another side in a second. I've recently learnt that it was built illegally, which is quite astonishing, that anybody would go to the expense of building such a thing, but it was built probably 8-9 years ago, and it's been maintained but never opened, so maybe the rumours are true. So on the right hand side we've got the Saranthony Hotel, part of the Mare Nostrum Resort. There's also Mediterranean Palace and the Cleopatra Palace as well. Great locations those, straight on the beachfront and on the Golden Mile as well. And here we go to El Camisón Beach, which is beautiful, one of my favourites. And if you just walk to the left of the beach, we get to see this building which is apparently condemned, if that's the right word. Certainly not built legally, which is quite common in the Canary Islands, but just amazing to go to that expense without getting the full permission. There used to be a house on this corner, or this piece of land. It's a huge piece of land with a smallish house on it. They obviously sold it and made plenty of money on it. And there's looking back over El Camisón Beach. So we're coming up to the end of El Camisón Beach. As we turn this corner, the climate changes slightly, it goes a little windier. You'll see that the waves get a little bit larger, and this is where you'll see a lot of people surfing, starting from this point and going round. There weren't many people surfing today. It was relatively calm. The buildings on the right there are part of the Park Santiago group. I'll have a little look inside in a second. Nice little beach there, a natural beach. Probably the same surface that was there many, many years ago. So coming up on the right hand side there's a cafe bar and there's an entrance into Park Santiago. There's a shopping centre there and there's also an absolutely enormous swimming pool complex which we'll just go and have a little look at. So if you go straight across that bridge and straight on, that comes into the shopping centre and then onto the Golden Mile. But right now we're just going to go back onto the seafront. So as we turn the corner and head more to the northwest, you can still see there La Gomera, the island in the distance. Just tends to get a little bit windier, but it's a very interesting area. We've got a split in the footpath here. You can go on the tarmac to the right or to these boardwalks on the left. They both end up at a similar place in the end. This is slightly longer and slightly more interesting, closer to the sea. You'll often see lots of people surfing here and lots of people with cameras photographing them through long lenses. Some interesting public artwork there. That sandy brown building there is the Villa Cortez Hotel. 5-star and very, very nice. Not that I've ever stayed there, mind you. And then coming up on the left hand side you'll see what looks like a Lido. It's a bricked off area. It's seawater, the water comes over the seawall and fills it. Wouldn't necessarily recommend swimming in there. But there is a very nice cafe bar to the right hand side, which I think is associated to the Villa Cortez Hotel, but you can go in there whether you're staying there or not. Beautiful location. I would imagine the prices reflect that. And then if you carry along this little footpath here, you'll see some steps at the end which you go up, and that will take you back onto the main promenade. So here we are onto the main seafront walk of Playa de las Americas. For a part of town named after a beach, it doesn't have a very significant beach. Depending on your point of view, of course, it's just a natural beach, no imported sand. But it looks beautiful, it's got great views, lots of shops, restaurants, and lovely views. As I said before, this area is very popular with surfers. This is where most of them park, on the right hand side here, and then wander over this ground to the left and down to the sea. So it's quite early in the day when I'm recording this, so it's quite quiet. A lot of the restaurants are just starting up. It does get very busy. If you've got that road there, it takes you onto the main road through Las Americas. There's the Happy Market on the right hand side, which always makes me smile. I think maybe it was called the Hippie Market and somebody decided to change it. Not much to it, to be honest. Nice tennis courts, which I think are to do with the H10 Palmeiras Hotel. You may be able to use those as a non-guest as well. I'm not sure where you get the rackets and things. You probably have to go into the hotel. Two towers of the Sol Tenerife hotels. Perfectly placed, very nice, straight out onto the seafront there. There is a gate, I think, you can get out from the swimming pool area straight onto the seafront. This is one of our favourite places to sit and watch the sunset, have a beer. We're pointing due west as we look out to sea here. So, a very nice place to end the day. And as we move along past these restaurants down this slope, we're going to come to the end of part one of my walk along the seafront in Los Cristianos in southern Tenerife into Las Americas. And part two will carry on through Las Americas into the area generally known these days as Costa Rica. So can I just say a great big thank you for watching my video, and I hope you'll watch part two. And if you've enjoyed part one, please give us a like, and if you would be so kind, subscribe to my channel for more things like this. That will help me create more footage and content. Thank you again. See you in the next one.